This week on Houston Newsmakers, the oil price glut and its impact on Houston, the Super Bowl of caring, and Mica Mosbacher. How might the dropping oil prices impact the Houston economy? The upcoming West Houston Economic Development Summit may answer some of those questions. And the goal of this year's Super Bowl of Caring is to raise more than ever to help the 60,000 people a day who are going hungry in Houston. We talk about this very important issue and how you can help. And it's been exactly 6 years since former Commerce Secretary Robert Mosbacher died of pancreatic cancer. The local honor he received this week and the resilience of his wife, Mica, who's written a book about faith, love, and triumph over loss.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Khambrel Marshall.
And good morning and welcome to Houston Newsmakers. As a driver who has to fill up your car from time to time, it's been a more enjoyable experience the last many months as the price at the pump has tumbled. But that tumble at the pump has happened because of the continuing fall in the price of oil. Stock market this past week is a big story. It's been many times in the past year. The New York Stock Exchange had almost 1,500 stocks hit 52-week lows at one point. NASDAQ seeing almost 900 hit those same lows. The S&P 500 at 2014 lows as oil prices continue to plummet and sell-off spread. Price of oil clearly one of the big reasons for what's going on. Locally, we've been seeing several companies laying off thousands. How long before this trend begins to have a major impact on the Houston region? That'll be one of the main topics at the upcoming West Houston Economic Development Summit. And Richard Helmy, president of True Color Graphics, Fast Sign 2008, long title, and chairman of the committee putting on this summit hosted by the Houston West Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Helmy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us, Khambrel.
This is about the right time to have this summit, is it not, with all the questions about oil?
Well, it is. We typically try and have this meeting at the first of the year as companies are trying to develop their plans for the coming year. The objective is to give them some insight into what the market conditions are going to be over the next 12 months so that they can either plan for that or adjust their plans accordingly.
With what's going on now in the oil industry and everything in Houston, that would mean this year's summit is probably going to be a lot more focused and a lot better attended, probably.
Well, actually, the same thing happened last year. This issue began in November of 2014 when prices started to decline, and that cast a fairly big shadow over not only the Houston market, but also, what could happen in West Houston, since West Houston is relatively dependent on the integrated oil companies. And so we quickly had to turn our attention to the implications of that for not only the energy industry itself, but all the other industries in West Houston that are dependent upon the employment that the energy industry provides.
You've done a survey. I know that you're going to provide the results of that survey during the summit, but a tidbit, you know how much I love tidbits, about some of what you've learned from the community in terms of what they expect going forward.
Okay, well, actually we've done 2 surveys or pieces of research for this particular event. The first is one that is done by Dr. Bill Gilmer at the University of Houston Institute for Regional Forecasting. So we have contracted him the last 3 years to not only give us a perspective of what's happening in Houston, the greater Houston market, because even companies that do business primarily in West Houston are interested in that, but to also try and drill down into the West Houston area. And so, he'll be providing that information at the luncheon itself. In addition to that, this year for the first time, we have fielded essentially a survey to businesses in West Houston to independently get their perspective on what they feel is going to happen in the coming year.
What kind of input are you getting in terms of?
Well, we had response from about 285 companies, which I thought was very good, and actually, considering all of the headlines that you just went through, they're fairly optimistic for next year. We asked them really, several questions, but 3 that are of most interest. Number 1, do you plan on increasing your employment next year? Are you going to hire or not?
Very
how is this going to impact you? And again, all but 10% of these companies are not oil companies, I should say. In total, those that answered we're either going to stay the same or increase was 88%. and those that answered that we plan on increasing our employment was 38.9, almost 40%.
Kind of surprising considering what we are thinking about what the general trend is going to be.
It is. Well, if you ask Dr. Gilmer, he will tell you that it takes quite a bit longer for all this to trickle down, if you will, to the other industries that are operating in the area. So, you know, I guess you could say it hasn't hit yet.
A lot more information to come from the summit. Who would you suggest is the most appropriate person who would want to come to this summit and get something out of it?
Well, our target audience is essentially all business owners or executives in the West Houston area. So that means everybody from small business and middle management, middle managers, you know, up to executives of medium to large size companies can all benefit from this. In addition to presenting the two surveys, in order to really drill down into the implications for various industries, we'll be also hosting a panel of experts for, you know, several of the key industries that are represented in West Houston in healthcare, financial services, retailing, and also the real estate market, which is starting to see some impact.
I want to make sure that people know how to get there and what the information is. There's sponsorships available as we tape this, but they're running out now, I know.
Exactly,
right?
yes.
$75 though for an individual if you want to get there. The summit date is Friday, February 12th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Omni Houston Hotel at West Side.
Yes.
Go to the website, hwcoc.org/WHEDS, which is for West Houston Economic
Development Summit. Right.
Or call 713-785-4922. I suspect it's going to be a packed house, Dad.
I certainly hope so.
Thank you for coming in. Good luck.
Thank you very much,
The
Khambrel.
summit on the 12th,
Appreciate
and
it.
of course we'll be keeping track of all that's going on with the oil prices and everything else.
I'll send you a copy of the report.
Good deal. Thank you
Okay.
very much. You know I love tidbits.
I do.
It is Super Bowl season, both on the field and off. The one here in Houston is about helping thousands who are hungry every day. We'll talk with some key players who are hoping to make this Houston Super Bowl the best one yet. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues. It was with great fanfare this past week that the 2016 Super Bowl of Caring kicked off here in Houston. It is the annual event that focuses on raising money, food, and attention to deal with the challenge of feeding the thousands of men and women and children in our community who are hungry. Joining this morning to talk about this year's effort, the uniqueness of it, and why it's so important, Clara Cooper, the president and CEO of Super Bowl of Caring, a national effort with a lot of Texas flavor. Rodney Dickerson, the president of the Montgomery County Food Bank, which is a beneficiary of the Super Bowl, and Scott McClellan, president of the Houston division of HEB, one of the main players in helping to collect money for this cause. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Good to see you here. Clara, another year, another effort, and the challenge never goes away, does it, in terms of trying to remind people about the issue of hunger in America?
Hunger is real, particularly here in Texas. You know, and we always say in Texas we like to do things bigger and better, but one thing we don't want to be known for is that we lead, we're one of the leading states that what our members are food insecure. 1.7 million Texans live in food insecure households.
And what does food insecure mean as opposed to just being hungry?
Well, meaning that people lack nutritious food on a consistent basis, meaning they don't know where the next meal is coming from.
Rodney, how does the food bank like Montgomery County benefit from this overall Super Bowl of Caring campaign?
Well, just after this couldn't come at a better time for us because we've just gone through the holidays where we've seen an increase for a need of our services, and the Super Bowl of Caring helps us restock our shelves and prepare for the year ahead.
This is so unique, Scott, because it involves all of the grocers. I never see this. You guys, you're in a very competitive business.
We are.
When you see HEB, Kroger, and Randall's all together in this, what is it about this effort that brings you together in such a priority basis?
Well, we fight 49 years out of the week for customers. But we decided 3 weeks out of the year we can join together to fight this big issue. You know, if you think about it, everybody is about 9 meals away from a life of crime. If you get hungry enough, you'll do whatever it takes. If you think about kids at school, if you're hungry, you're really going to learn. And so what we decided to do is we'll join forces together and look at how much food can we raise to really put an end to hunger. And so it's an effort that we have to be the largest food drive in the state of Texas, and it's been very successful.
Everybody, do they do it differently in terms of how you collect in your grocery stores, or is everybody doing tear campaign?
It's the same. So you can either buy a big bag of food for $5, and I think what's so novel about this is it's not a big effort by everyone, it's everyone doing one small thing. Buy a bag of food for $5, or get a tear pad, $1, $3, $5, and it's everyone in Houston doing a little bit, but together we make a huge difference.
I want to look at some pretty eye-opening statistics. I do this, we talk about this every year, but when you think about 1 in 7 Americans struggling with hunger, and an estimated 48 million in America, 15 million of them children, we're talking about food insecurity, which you talked about earlier, Clara, meaning a lack of nutritional food. An estimated, I find this amazing, 40% of food is thrown out every year, worth about $165 billion. That's on one of the websites I saw. That is amazing to me, and that brings into more clarity the need for this Super Bowl of caring and how people can get involved.
It is, and actually in Texas it's even worse. 1 in 6 Texans struggle to put food on the table. So that's why Super Bowl of Caring is a campaign that everyone can get involved. Youth, Boy Scouts, the grocers, churches all get together and they tackle hunger so they can help those who are struggling to put food on in the Houston area.
And this started as a church effort many, many years ago in South Carolina, did it not?
Yes, Super Bowl Sunday, 1990, and since then over 115 million has been collected for hunger relief organizations throughout the country.
Rodney, tell me this, how different or similar are the needs in Montgomery County as opposed to other parts of our area?
Well, the Montgomery County area, the needs are very similar. However, we do have over 76,000 food insecure residents in our county alone. And 40% of those food insecure individuals are children. So we have a vast need for for help in our county, and the Super Bowl of Caring is doing a great job with that.
Now, how do you disseminate the food and the money, the pie? How is it divided up so that the various food banks and outlets get it?
Well, it's unique. Again, our participants, the groups who get involved, they decide when they collect food and monetary donation, they decide which charity that they're going to pick. 100% of that goes to a charity. So they get to decide. So if you're a church or your youth group, you decide. The Boy Scouts have already designated the Houston Food Bank. They've also Rodney's Food Bank as well, Brazos Valley, as well as Scouts.
It doesn't get any more efficient.
Well,
it literally 100% goes. You know, just to put a face on the number, he said 76,000 people are food insecure in Montgomery County. That's how many people go to the Super Bowl. If you look at Houston, it's roughly the same number. 70,000 people are food insecure in Houston. Same number of people that go to the Super Bowl. It's a huge number of people who on a daily basis don't know where their next meal is going to come from.
So I went to one of your stores this past week. I think you know which one.
Yeah. God bless you.
And I tore off the $5 pad. So how do I know where mine goes? Or is an HEB going to some place? Or because I didn't designate, I just gave $5.
Yeah. So it'll go to you live in Fort Bend County.
Right.
So it'll go through the Houston Food Bank. That'll then go out to member pantries in either Fort Bend or Houston County, and they'll divide it out. So it all goes dollar for dollar out to help the member food pantries in those areas.
Is there competition among the stores?
Oh, we track it every single day, and stores are fighting for recognition. So I know what my top store is, and the bottom stores all get an email every day like, I know you're better than that.
Yeah,
and they take great pride in doing it.
And do you, among the Kroger, Randall's group, are you all competing as well, or is that you just kind of?
Well, I would like to challenge them, but this year we will at HEB we will collect over $1 million. So it will be a big number at HEB.
You are chomping at the bit to challenge. I can tell you. Really
not that I'm competitive or anything.
No, not at all. That is so neat. When you go ahead and do that, that really makes it so easy for people to do that. I want to make sure we put up information. So many ways to get involved, either by donating at the registers, at your grocery store, by direct donations, or as a group. If somebody wants to do it as a group, they can sign up and collect food on your behalf as well.
SuperBowl.org.
Boy Scouts go door to door and collect it that way. They put door hangers on doors and come by there. Oh, it's easy to do.
We got 800-358-SOUP. You can't beat that either. That's 800-358-7687. Or go to the website, superbowl.org. Very easy to do. Thank you all for what you're all doing. I get the sense that our community is so outpouring and magnanimous in our charity and this sort of thing. I hope it's the same way.
We do, and we need the help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khambrel.
Remain number one.
Yes, you got to stay number one.
That's right.
So we do in Texas, right?
That's right.
Coming up, Mica Mosbacher, the wife of the late former Secretary of Commerce who died 6 years ago from pancreatic cancer, her book, Racing Forward, Faith, Love, and Triumph Over Loss. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues.
APRC Channel 2. This is Houston Newsmakers with Khambrel Marshall.
And welcome back to Houston Newsmakers, where I'm joined by Mica Mosbacher, the wife of the late former Secretary of Commerce, Robert Mosbacher. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. I'm wearing my white race suit, so I speeded over here. Tried not to get a ticket.
We're glad that you were able to come here. This is a special week and a special day. I know that 6 years ago, when your husband died of pancreatic cancer, and that really started a journey for you, did it not? That really kind of has led to this book, Racing Forward. How did we get to this point?
Well, I wrote the book as a tribute to my late husband. And in talking with other widows who I'd met through the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, I recognized that we shared several things in common. We really didn't have a manual on how to grieve. And so I wanted to write a book that was a part memoir, but also was upbeat. And I wanted to be honest and share some of my emotions and some of my challenges, such as feeling a loss and a paralysis, not being able to get out of bed, trying to motivate myself to do simple things, like go to the grocery store or the bank. The fact that I couldn't concentrate. And I felt like, you know, the only thing that's really going to help me is to kind of be more action-oriented and grieve forward.
And so that process, how long after your husband's death did you actually think about, because you've been a writer before you started to write this book. That should be said. You didn't just start, oh, I'm going to write a book. You've been a writer before that.
Exactly.
How long of a period of time did it come to you, I think I need to do this?
I would say about 2 years ago, I really began talking seriously about doing it, and I'd put some notes down, and then I pitched it to a publisher. I thought nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm out of my comfort zone, and they bought the book.
In the meantime, this past week, a special week, because the former Preston Street Bridge has now been renamed the Bob Mosbacher Bridge, and you were there to see that happening. What were your thoughts when you saw that tribute happening to your late husband? Many years still, these tributes coming, you see the powerhouse of political stalwarts there to be a part of that.
He was so humble, he would have said, "What's all the fuss about?" But Bob loved bridges. He was a world champion sailor. The fact that the bridge is along the Buffalo Bayou in a city that he loves and commemorates a friendship with Jimmy Baker and President Bush, and the years they spent together doing some important projects, but also having fun, enjoying themselves as friends. It was an overwhelming moment for me.
How did you come up with the name Racing Forward? How did that come about?
Well, it was sort of a play on grieving forward, and then the whole idea was is if I'm going to have to catapult myself forward in life and get out of this kind of stagnation, you know, I was sort of spinning my wheels, grieving. I felt like I needed to have passion and purpose, and I was so out of my comfort zone at that point.
And you say that, and I noticed we've got video of the book and some of the pictures in the book, and you talked about the fact that you really were out of your comfort zone. Having said that, you really open up. In that book, we can really be with you and feel the grief and the concern and the nervousness, and we can feel that in your book. So how challenging was it to let yourself pour on those pages like that?
Well, it was cathartic at first, but after I turned in the final copy to the editor, which would have been Christmas time last year, I got stage fright. I called the editor up and I said, you know what? I don't think I can put myself out here. I feel like the emperor wearing no clothes. And she kind of talked me off the ledge. And I began to realize once the book was published and as I connected with other people such as yourself, that I did have a message to convey that resonated with other people. So that part's been rewarding.
And you were it wasn't the first time you were impulsive. One of the parts in your book, you talked about the fact that you had a wedding dress that you threw that down the chute.
Oh, wedding pictures.
Yes, wedding pictures.
Wedding pictures, because it hurt too much to look at them. And I've actually, going around the country, heard several similar stories. People putting their pictures up, putting them in boxes, giving them away to Goodwill, because all those memories come back, and especially when you're at home at night, if you're home alone, and you're looking at the photos and you're hearing the emptiness in the house, you really begin to miss your loved one.
Right, right. What do you hope people will get when they open your book? What would you want them to come away with once they close and they put that book down? What do you want them to get away?
They're not the Lone Ranger. They're not suffering in silence. They aren't alone. And since they are out of their comfort zone, in my case, I took up race car driving. But for someone else, maybe they've always wanted to paint or they've always wanted to learn a musical instrument. Life is short, and this is the time to go at something that you have a passion for.
And where can people find your book?
Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble.
Okay. We want people to do that. And the name of the book again?
Racing Forward.
Good deal. Well, I had a chance to read that. I couldn't put it down, probably because I have a common thing with racing and just getting to know you and your husband, Bob, in a way that I would not have known otherwise. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much. A pleasure.
Good luck as you sell your book and you take your next steps in this life going forward. Racing forward.
Racing forward.
Well, we're going to take a look ahead to next week and a very tough-to-get special guest. I hope you'll join me. That's when Houston Newsmakers continues right after this. Newsmakers, Congressman Kevin Brady, chairman of the powerful House Ways and Means Committee on priorities for 2016. You can bet he'll have a lot to say. And we'll have a deeper look at Houston's economic prospects in the face of further dropping oil prices and getting ready for the Ms. Wheelchair Texas competition here in Houston and why one city council member is behind it in a big way. That's next week. If you'd like to join our social media Newsmakers conversation, follow us on Twitter, KPRC Khambrel, #HOU Newsmakers. And if there's a subject or stories you'd like for me to take on, email me at HoustonNewsmakers@click2Houston.com. Thank you to my guests for being here this morning. And if you missed anything, you want to get specific information on today's show or on any of our previous Newsmakers programs, go to click2Houston.com and under the news banner, click on Newsmakers. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you back here again next Sunday.